Hello, hello there teachers, hello there caretakers, and welcome to a new session of English Language and Arts. My name is Abdul Wahab Jamal. I'm here today to deliver a new session of checkpoint examination. This is Cambridge Primary Checkpoint. English, code 0844. This is first language, English as first language. In this session I will deal with the paper 1, which is the non-fiction paper. We will speak about real things. We are going to deal with part A, which is the reading, and part B, which is the writing. And before starting, let us have an idea about the lesson plan or the blueprint of our session. We will try to cover the objectives. There are plenty. For example, to practice on the 4 English skills of English speaking, listening, reading, and writing. We'll try to introduce the topic. We'll try to analyze and explain the text. We'll try to have an idea about the meaning of the words inside the context. The contextual meaning of the words. We will try to answer the questions after analyzing the text and explaining the genre or the feature of the text. Then we will try to have an idea about the function of the grammar implied or applied inside the text. Remember that starting from 2018 we don't have any section or separated section for grammar. Okay, grammar now is embedded inside reading and writing, so we will have 2 or 3 questions about the grammar inside the reading, 1 mark for each or half a mark for each, for example 2 marks maybe. And then we will have the grammar in writing, which is punctuation, capitalization, the verb tenses, transition words, using of grammar inside the writing. Okay, so again, there is no separated section for grammar starting from 2018. It is only paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 for non-fiction, reading and writing, and paper 2 for fiction, reading and writing. Key vocabularies, we will try to have an idea about the new words inside the reading text. Our resources, anything can help us inside our teaching. Okay, computer, smartboard, MP3 player, whiteboard, worksheets, English references, past papers, guidebook, etc. Okay, the procedures now, we will try to make a warm-up, introducing a video or a presentation. Then we have a guided or group work. We will try to let the students give their opinion or their implementation about their understanding or their point of view of the video, and we will try to discuss the topic as well. We will try to let students work alone or work in group, and we will try to deal with all of them. Then we are going to make some activities, anything, make the students attracted and involved in doing the past paper or interesting inside the English session. Okay, for example, we will try to make a discussion, we will try to answer the questions, to make a competition, to do something to engage them and to grab their attention. Plenary, we will try to make a summary of what have we done. Assessment will try to have an idea about their progression inside the session, okay, how much did they understand. And the homework, we'll try to assign the homework, explain the homework and assign it. Then evaluation, we'll try to make a pop quiz, or try to make them make a presentation, or to speak about the topic, to explain the text, to reproduce the reading text by using their own language and own words, as well as, of course, to revise the paper and do it again with themselves. Let's get started. Let's go to the specimen insert of paper 1 nonfiction. Before reading it, I'll try to break the ice with the students by presenting a video about the supply chain or the story of chocolate journey from being on tree till being in stores.
Have you ever wanted to know how long it takes for the chocolate you enjoy eating to be grown in the fields and made into all kinds of delicious chocolate bars and cakes? You are about to find out the magical process of chocolate from the cocoa tree to the chocolate bar. Cocoa grows on theobroma trees in hot countries like Africa and Colombia, and the cocoa pods, which look a bit like brown and orange melons, can be picked or harvested by the farmers twice a year. These pods are sliced open using a large knife, and the white mushy beans inside are taken out and put into large wooden crates to be fermented. This is the start of the flavours which you recognise as chocolate beginning to develop. This step, called fermentation, takes around 6 days. The fermented beans are then laid out in the sun to dry, where the cocoa farmer keeps turning them over to make sure they're dried evenly. They stay out in the hot sun for about 4 days. The dried beans are placed in sacks and taken to a sorting warehouse, where they're carefully checked to make sure they're of a good quality. This is called being classified, and the farmers are then paid for the weight of the beans they take to the warehouse. This usually takes around 2 days. From here, the beans travel to the processing factory, and with the use of lots of big machines, other ingredients such as milk, sugar and vanilla are mixed with the beans to create the different types of chocolate we like to eat. This is called manufacturing and processing, and takes about 2 days to complete. The finished chocolate is put into bags, ready for the next stage of its journey. The finished bags of chocolate then need to be taken to the port, where the ships are waiting to carry the chocolate all over the world. Large containers full of delicious chocolate are loaded onto the ships. And it actually takes about 20 days for the chocolate to get from Colombia to us here in Great Britain. That's a long time to travel across the oceans. Once the chocolate has arrived here, it's delivered to bakeries and shops and chocolatiers all over the country to be made into lots of delicious treats such as cakes, biscuits, spreads and chocolate bars, all the things we enjoy eating. From the start of the theobroma trees growing the pods to you eating your chocolate bar, it takes approximately 215 days. Wow! So every time you enjoy a bit of chocolate, remember all the different steps in the process from the cocoa tree to your bar. Every time you enjoy a bit of chocolate, remember all the different steps in the process from the cocoa tree to your bar.
So, it was a nice video. After presenting this video, we have to ask students about their impression. What did they understand? To get them involved in the process of discussion, okay? For example, we will ask them, what did you understand from the video? How this process will start? Give me some procedures or some steps of the sequence, for example, of making the chocolate. What kind of sequence did we take? For example, do we take the chronological order or the logic order or the time order? So we'll try to get them involved inside it. Okay, the idea or the purpose of this video is to grab their attention, number one. Number two, to enhance the listening skill of English. So this is the text. How is it chocolate made? Okay, it is 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is 4 paragraphs. Each paragraph consists of 5 to 6 lines. Okay, and we will try to make them understand that we have something called the indentation, which is the beginning of the space, is the space in the beginning of each paragraph, and we have to skip a line between each paragraph. How can we understand or know each paragraph? For example, how can we separate them? Okay, by doing this. Okay, this is the unity of paragraphs and the layout or the shape of writing, the shape of the text. Okay, let's listen.
How is
to
chocolate
paragraph
made?
number 1.
Have you ever wondered where chocolate comes from? Well, chocolate is made from beans which grow in pods on the Theobroma cacao tree. These trees grow in several different countries and the flavor of the beans varies depending on where they come from. The beans also vary in flavor, depending on the age of the tree.
The beans also vary in flavor, depending on the age of the tree.
You are free as a teacher to read yourself, or to let the board reading the MP3 player, or to assign students, for example, to read one by one. You are free to do this. After reading, we have to give an idea about the meaning of the word, the contextual meaning. I'm not asking about the definition. I'm not asking about the dictionary meaning of the word. I'm asking about the meaning of the word inside the context, inside this text. Usually students inside the exam don't have dictionary to open, so they have to understand the meaning of the context. They have to figure out and guess the meaning of a word by reading a sentence before the word and sentence after the word. This is number one. And number two, you have to let them understand that for each line or each sentence we have a key word, a word which represents a key. This key will open the meaning of the whole sentence. So I try to figure out the keywords. I know they are quite, they are plenty, they are many, but please remember, as much as you are simple, as much as you are making to the down earth, as much as you are make it easy and explaining the text, as much as you will get students understand and involved and participate inside your session. Try to ask them one by one if you wish, or to make a competition, for example, about the meaning of the word inside it. For example, ask them, have you ever wondered where chocolate comes from? What's the meaning of the word wondered inside this sentence? Somebody will say, for example, a question, another say, for example, think or thought. Another student will say, for example, to guess. Okay, accept the right answer, decline the incorrect answer, and just put the mouse. Okay, because you already prepared, you're supposed to be already prepared the past paper. Okay, so wondered, it means to speculated, to inquired, and to questioned or to guess. Okay, We will continue. Well, chocolate is made from beans. What are beans? Beans, they are edible seeds, they are grains, berries, okay? Which grow in pods on the Theobroma cacao or cocoa tree, okay? The pods, they are the thin and small branches, elongated in length capsules or two-valved seed vessels. Some students will not understand what's the meaning of this, okay? So simply try to make, copy, paste, and go to Uncle Google Images, okay? Put it and show us what are the pods of Theobroma cocoa tree. They are here, okay? Small branches or thin branches which the cocoa tree has, okay? Try to let them have a look or have an idea about it, because the picture worth 1,000 words. Continue. These trees grow in several different. Everybody knows the meaning of a grow: to become bigger, to get older, something like this. Become mature, expand, or flourish. Several, different or many or numerous. Different countries and the flavor, taste of the beans varies depending on, changing, cause different, alter, depending on where they come from, what's the origin or the source of them. The beans also vary in flavor depending on, counting on, relying on the age. Everybody knows the meaning of age, but the problem is, ask any student about expressing the meaning of age. He will say or she will say, I know the meaning of age, but I find some difficulties in explaining or expressing the meaning. So your mission as a teacher to let them express themselves, to let them use the simple words and simple vocabularies to explain other vocabularies. Otherwise, how can they feel the wonderfulness of the language? How can they touch the richness of the English language? It is rich because it contains more than 1 million words, synonyms, vocabularies, antonyms. You can understand the meaning of a word by presenting another words. So the age, simply, it is a length of time. It is a duration of life. Okay? This is your job as a teacher, to enhance them using their language and using their own experience, thoughts, ideas, and words to explain another words. Otherwise, how can they produce writing? You will always hear, Mister, we don't have ideas, or Mister, we have ideas but we can't express them. Why? Because simply they don't use or express or train on writing synonyms or meanings of the words. Paragraph number 2.
After the beans have been collected and dried, they are transported to chocolate factories. There, the beans are weighed and separated by type so that the manufacturer knows exactly what kind of cacao is going into the chocolate. This ensures the flavor of the chocolate is consistent over time. Some manufacturers use up to 12 types of cacao, depending on the flavor of chocolate they want to create.
Some manufacturers use up to 12 types of cacao, depending on the flavor of chocolate they want to create.
Okay. After the beans have been collected and dried, now we have a kind of sequence or a kind of steps to do or to make. A kind of steps or sequence to do or to make to have the cacao or how to have the chocolate. Okay, so we will start with collecting the beans. What the meaning of collecting? To brought up, to place together, then dry them, to free them from moisture, to free them from moisture, to free them from any water or wet. Okay, they are not moist and not wet. Then they are transported. To transport is to take or carry from one place to another. We will take them from the field into the manufacturer, into the factory. Mister, what the meaning of factory? Okay, I know the meaning of factory, but I can't express it. It's a place where we can make something. Okay, thank you. Appropriate synonym or definition: they are buildings or groups of buildings with some facilities for the manufacturer of goods. Try them or let them to train on using new words and new vocabularies to employ in explaining another words and another vocabularies. There, the beans are weighed and separated. Weighed and separated. To weigh is to counterbalance, is to measure, is to put in a scale, to put on a scale and to put in balance. To put in the balance and to put on the scale. Separate, it is to depart, to detach, to remove, to divorce, to distribute. The beans according to their types, according to their kind, to their category, to their sort, we will put them in groups, okay, so that the manufacturer, the maker, the operator, the builder, the producer will know exactly, correctly, precisely, definitely, totally 100% what kind, what sort, what type, what species of cacao or cocoa is going into the chocolate. This ensure. The en is to make the word as a verb and to make a force on it. To ensure, to make sure, to confirm, to certify, to assure the flavor of the chocolate is consistent over time. I don't know what the meaning of consistent, but I am doing this process to make sure that the flavor will have something over time. So I have two choices. The flavor either to be different or to be permanent. For sure, the logic will tell that the flavor should be the same over time. Persistent, steady, constant, true, not changed over the time. Let them understand, let them think, let them decide, let them have their ability of critical thinking to counterbalance. Don't let them copy paste only. Let your students think, discuss, have an idea, have the courage to say. If you will enhance this and if you will do this, you will have a type of students who like to search, who like to figure out, who likes to dig deep for the information, not only just to take it on a plate of silver. So, some manufacturers use up to 12 types of cocoa depending on the flavor of the chocolate they want to create. To create, we are not gods. To create, we are not God to make something happen by 1, 2, 3. Here, to create is to construct, to develop, to design, to constitute, to make, to invent. All of them are correct. Paragraph number 3.
Once weighed, the cacao beans are roasted in large ovens for up to 2 hours. The heat not only dries and darkens the beans, but also brings out their flavor. Next, the cacao beans are cracked, and then winnowed, that is, the broken shells are blown away, which leaves the crushed pieces of cacao beans, called nibs. These are edible but do not taste very pleasant. The cacao nibs are then crushed and ground into a thick paste called chocolate liquor. This is bitter and not very smooth or creamy. To improve the flavor, the manufacturer mixes in things like sugar, vanilla and milk.
To improve the flavor, the manufacturer mixes in things like sugar, vanilla and milk.
Paragraph number 3. We will continue the steps, the sequence of how to make the chocolate, okay? After weigh the cocoa beans, we will take them and roast them. We will try to bake them, to cook them, okay? Uncovered in the oven. We will try to expose them to dry heat, okay? In large ovens for up to 2 hours. Then heat not only dries and darkens the beans, but also brings out their flavor. So darken, if you will ask them what's the meaning of a darken, they will say simply to become darker. For sure it is not accepted to use the same word explaining the same word. Darkens, it is not acceptable to say it is to become darker. To darken, it is to become shaded, to become black. But also brings out, emphasize, expose, highlight, make it clear, make it noticeable. Okay? To make it noticeable, their flavor. Next, in my opinion, we have to start with a new paragraph, but they make it in one paragraph once and next. We will speak about the transition word or the sequence word in the grammar corner next, or after reading this text. So next, the cocoa beans are cracked. To crack something, it means to smash, to damage, to squeeze. To fracture, to break, and then winnowed. To winnow something, it is to fan it, to make it under a flow of air, to be cooled, to scattered. Okay? And winnowing the chocolate here, or winnowing the cocoa beans, it means to remove the shell, the broken shells, to remove them away and to leave the crushed piece of cocoa beans, which are the nibs. So to remove the shells out of the cores. Crushed, mashed and squashed or squeezed, nibs, crushed pieces of cocoa beans. We will try to separate the shells out of nibs. This is the winnowed, okay? And make them dry, of course, okay? These nibs, they are edible. We can eat them. We can digest them. They are good as a nutrition, but their taste is not very acceptable. It is not very amiable. It is not very delightful. It is not very satisfied. It is not very good to taste or to eat them. We have to add something. We have to make something done for the cocoa nibs so that they will be better, to be eaten. The cocoa nibs are then crushed and ground into a thick paste. Ground into, it means to continue doing to hammered into, to driven into. To driven to be in a thick paste. We will try to transform them into a thick paste, into a liquid like gum in structure, a paste called chocolate liquor. This liquor is very bitter. It is something harsh to be taste. It is disagreeable. It is acrid taste. It is not sour, not sweet, nor salt. It is not very smooth. It is not very gentle or very soft. It is not silky, nor creamy. It is not oily, not richy, not milky, not buttery. To improve the flavor, to make the flavor better, to develop or progress or boost the flavor, you have, as a manufacturer, as a maker, you have to mix, you have to blend, you have to stir, you have to fuse, you have to let them mingle with sugar or vanilla or milk to make the taste better. Paragraph number 4.
You could eat this mixture, and it would taste pretty good, but it wouldn't quite have the right texture. So the manufacturer runs the mixture through steel rollers and then it is conched. This is a process which involves putting the mixture in a machine that mixes and mashes the chocolate. Conching can last a few hours for cheaper chocolate, and up to 6 days for more expensive types.
Conching can last a few hours for cheaper
Finally,
chocolate,
we have
and up to
chocolate.
6 days for more expensive types. Finally, we have chocolate.
Thank you. We can consider finally we have a chocolate, or we have a chocolate, line 25. We can consider it as a paragraph because we have a space between paragraph number 4 and number 5. Okay? You could eat this mixture and it would taste pretty good. Pretty good is informal word to have an idea about fair, decent, adequate, reasonable, okay, but it wouldn't quite have the right texture. It wouldn't absolutely, it wouldn't totally, it wouldn't actually entirely have the correct texture, the correct sense, the correct quality. I can't have the total correct structure of this mixture. Yet the manufacturer runs the mixture. Let the mixture go inside, moves rapidly, drives flowingly in or through steel rollers, and then it is conched. Conching, it is to mix and mash the nibs or the liquor or the chocolate, the raw chocolate, inside the machines for the purpose of tempering or refining chocolate, to make the chocolate better in quality. Okay? Conching, it is simply to lay out the chocolate or the mixture, to make it lay out, okay, for a period of time. If you wish to have an expensive chocolate, you have to let it conch for a long time, 6 or more than this 6 days. And if you wish to have a cheaper one, only few hours is appropriate for doing this. Okay, conching. Now we have the word cheap and expensive. Everybody knows what's the meaning of cheap. It is a low price, reasonable in cost. Expensive, it is a high price or valuable in cost. But the idea of making them highlighted is to spot the light on the comparison, the comparative structure of cheap and expensive. If you wish to make the adjective cheap, in comparison you have to write er, to add the suffix er, so it would become cheaper, because this is one syllable word. Cheap, cheaper, slow, slower, fast, faster. While if you wish to make the word expensive, which is more than one syllable, one syllable word, you have to add the word more. You can't say expensiver, you have to say more expensive, more wonderful, more aggressive. Okay, types. And finally we have chocolate. By doing this we finish text A. We finished the interpretation and the meanings of the word. Now we will try to use with those red lines, okay, of the words. You see? Let's go now to the grammar corner, or the corner of a grammar, and we will speak about the transition words. Now in the grammar corner of the text A, we will try to have an idea about the transition words, or the time order words, and the sequencers, the words of sequence. As we said, the text which we are dealing with is trying to give an idea about a process, about a sequence. It explains and give information of how the chocolate been made from cocoa beans. So we will start introducing our ideas from first, second, third, fourth, or we will use the sequence of time order, which is first, next, after that, for example, then, finally. Okay? Now here we have the word well. We put well because we asked a question, an informal question, okay? This is to grab your attention, your reader's attention. So the hook here in the beginning of the text was a question. We have four types of hooks. We have the question, we have the quotation, we have the for example, a joke, okay, or funny things, and we have a definition. Here, in the informative type of writing, in the informative text, the author chose a question as a hook to grab the reader's attention. Have you ever wondered where chocolate comes from? This is a question, and the question needs an answer. So the answer will be, well, okay, chocolate is made from beans. Instead of well, let's imagine that we have first, okay, chocolate is made from. Then we have after. After. It is a sequence word or time order word. We will try to put the transition words or the sequencers in the beginning of each paragraph. or in the beginning of each step or beginning of each part, okay? So I put it in the beginning of paragraph number 2. After the beans have been collected, they are transported. Once weighed, this is a time word order, a time word order. Once weighed, as soon as they are weighed, they are roasted, okay? Instantly, at the same time. Next, okay, and I mentioned it, I wish the reader put the next in the beginning of a new paragraph. So next, the step after the weighed and roasted, it is to crack the cocoa beans. And then, sorry, here, then we will take the nips, okay, and crush and ground them into thick paste. We will try to transform them into a paste. Transform them into a paste. And then, or after that, the beans will, sorry, the paste will conched. Finally, at the end, we have a chocolate. Grammar corner, transition words, sequence word or time order words signal the order in which events happen. They have, or they allow readers to understand a sequence of events. Example, first to next to after that, and then or finally. First, next, then after that, finally. Time order words establish clarity in our writing and take the readers on a clear and cohesive journey. These words work in all types of writing. If you are writing a fiction text, if you are writing a story, a novel, a legend, any false writing, any fiction writing, you have to use transition words, you have to use sequencer of events so that your reader will not get lost. And if you are writing a non-fiction type of writing, if you are writing an academic text, if you are writing a non-fiction text, an informative text, for example, you should use the sequencers or time order, again, to put the events in the logic and right and correct order, okay? It will make your text more organized. It will let the reader understand what you are writing about. You will let the reader get rid of getting lost. Keeping a time order words list nearby will help you to move an essay or a story, yani non-fiction or fiction, forward and helps the writer to smoothly transcend, to move from one paragraph to another without making a confusion to the reader, as we said. Here is at least a table of some transition words, time words order or time order words or some sequencers. Okay? For example, I have something, it will start from here, but I have a step before, then step number 1, then step number 2, next. Sometimes you can do this or sometimes you cannot. And finally or last. Okay? Before we have earlier, previously, formerly, previous to, before. First, to begin, starting with, initially, originally, at the onset, next. after number one, after the first, consequently, following, in return, in turn, second, soon after. Now, 3, sometimes, at times, occasionally, seldomly, some of the time, every so often, on occasion. Now, finally, last, in conclusion, to be conclude, in the end, ultimately, to finish, at the end of, finally, in the end. These are time of sequencers and time word orders. Try to keep them in mind and let your students, for example, play a game of making steps in order. Okay? For example, we finished the text A. Okay? So we will go to supply chain. Okay, supply chain of cocoa beans. How can we do it? This is exactly like the video. Okay, exactly the video. We have them here. So for example, as an activity of fun, to make your students, to assess your students if they understand the text and the procedures or the steps of the making the cocoa or making the chocolate, you can simply make cards, okay, of 16 process or 16 steps. Okay, you will try, for example, to write the sentences or to draw this images, and you will not number them. Do not number them. Okay, let the students put them in order. Try to make them 16-1. Okay, then cut them. If you wish to use, for example, the images, the pictures, or just if you wish to take the sentences, okay, and distribute them among your students and ask, which is number 1, where is number 2, where is number 3, who's number 4, who's number 5, till you reach 16, okay, till the transportation. Okay, this is for the text. And if you wish to ensure that your students understand the transition words order or the sequencers, simply you have to let them play the time words order, the sequencers. For example, try to let them use those words, okay? Here, for example, before, earlier, previously, formerly, first, next, sometimes, last. Try to make them, to put them, for example, in 4 groups, okay? Group number 1, 4 sentences. Group number 2, 4 sentences. Group number 3, 4 sentences. Group number 4, 4 sentences. Here, for example, we will try to say first, then, next, after that. Okay? First, next, then, finally. Okay? For example, here before and here finally. And try to apply, try to let them apply using the transition words in the right and the logic and the chronological order of how to make chocolate. By doing this, you hit 2 birds with 1 stone. You check the understanding of the text, number 1, and number 2, you apply the grammar function among your students. This is grammar tip or grammar corner number 1, okay, of text A, the transition words. I noticed something else, that here we are not very careful. We don't care about the subject, the doer. We care only about the object, okay, the consequence, the result. And we are using too much passive voice more than the active voice. For example, the cocoa beans are roasted. The cocoa beans are cracked. The cocoa beans are crushed and ground into. Okay? The cocoa beans are done. You understand me? We are not very sure, we are not very depending on the doer. We are asking for the result. Usually if you are understanding, or if you wish, or if you are involving or thinking about the object, the consequence, the result, okay, use the passive voice. Using passive voice inside your academic writing is something very important. It will give your writing a way of understanding. It will reflect some interesting in the object more than the subject. And usually we are using this inside our details or supporting details, yani inside the complex and the compound sentences. The active and passive voice. The active voice describes a sentence where the subject performs the action stated by the verb. Okay? I have the subject, I have the verb, and the object or the complement of the sentence. Subject is always in the beginning. Object is in the end of the sentence. This is the sequence or the normal sequence of the active voice, okay? Now the passive voice, on the other hand, the subject is acted upon by the verb. It is not very important. We are not very interested in the subject in the passive voice. The object is what matters. In the passive voice, however, the subject is no longer performing the action, rather it is being acted upon the verb. It is after the verb, not before it. The subject of a sentence is in the passive voice is no longer the doer. Okay? We will put it the object verb by the subject. The object is done by the subject, or simply the object is done. In the beginning, in the active, the subject is doing the object. The subject does the object. The subject did the object. In the passive voice, no. The object is done by the subject. The object is being doing by the subject. The object was done by the subject. Examples, okay? As you read through the following example sentence, you will start to become an active voice expert. I will do 3 or 4 of them, okay, and I will leave the rest to be read by you. Okay? Active voice, Harry, which is the subject, ate, this is the verb, 6 shrimp, this is the object. The passive, 6 shrimp, okay, which is the object, were eaten, the verb, by Harry, the subject. Okay? Beautiful giraffes roam the savannah. Beautiful giraffes, subject, roam, verb, the savannah, object. Now, in the passive, the savannah, the object, is roamed, the verb, by beautiful giraffes, the subject. Sue, the subject, changed, verb, the flat tire, the object. In the passive, the flat tire, the object, was changed, the subject, sorry, the verb, by Sue, by the subject, and so on and so forth. Okay? Have a look on them and try to make a worksheet for your students, a worksheet for the grammar, the function of a grammar. A worksheet consisted of sentences for the time word order. Okay, you will try to make sentences, for example, and let your students relate them in one paragraph. Okay, use the sentences or use the transition words about a sequence or about an order in a sequence or in a process. How to make a salad, how to make a hamburger, how to make a chocolate, etc. Okay? And another worksheet of an active and passive voice. You will simply let them have the sentence of active and ask them to transfer it into passive. Again, in checkpoint, we are not very interested in the function of a grammar in reading. Okay, they will ask you some questions, but they will not ask you like section of a grammar. Okay, so we need only them to understand the grammar and try to embed it inside their reading and their writing. Okay, this is regarding text A. I think we finish all of it and we try to cover everything regarding it. Okay, text B, on the other hand, it is something related to chocolate party company. Okay, again, it is related to the chocolate and it is a type of persuasive writing, a type of advertisement. Okay, and advertising writing. So let's read it. After reading it, we will try to watch a video to let the students understand what the meaning of advertising writing, what is the meaning of advertisement, what the meaning of persuasive text. Okay?
The Chocolate Party Company, calling all young chocolate lovers. Are you looking for a special theme for a party? Then come to us. Our chocolate parties combine the very best quality Belgian chocolate with fun-packed activities. Our experienced chocolatiers love to share their magic chocolate-making skills and make sure everyone has a great time. Spend 2 unforgettable hours creating scrumptious chocolate masterpieces, such as cute chocolate animals, crispy coconut cups or, best of all, our mouth-watering, melt-in-the-middle chocolate stars. All sorts of delicious toppings are available, including caramel sprinkles, chocolate-coated honeycomb crumbs and, our favorite, very berry strawberry curls. Perfect for any special occasion, our fantastically fun parties will help you to create chocolate delights that will impress everyone. The time will just fly. But the fun doesn't stop there because, at the end, you and your friends will take away party bags crammed with your own delicious, handmade treats. You will also take with you a wealth of knowledge about the secret art of the chocolatiers, making this a day you'll never forget. Parties last for 2 hours, are suitable for children from 8 to 14 years old and are available 7 days a week. We run throughout the day, starting at 10 a.m., with the last party finishing at 9 p.m. on weekdays and 10 p.m. at weekends and during holidays. See our website for prices, availability, and more details.
Okay, that was text B, the chocolate party company. Okay, it was a text to introduce and to advertise for a business of a company. We will try to notice that we have around four paragraphs. Okay, the first one, second, the first and the second and the third, they were speaking, talking and explaining their business. Okay, they are trying to describe their business, their company, their products, while at the last one they get involved with information and facts. Of course, they are not lying. They were not lying in the first three paragraphs. Okay, they were giving you truth. Okay, but they were giving their opinion about it. They were trying to persuade you. They were trying to advertise, and they were trying to introduce their business and say the best thing about their products. Okay, in the first three paragraphs. While in the last paragraph, number 4, they simply give you certain information and they told you the exact truth, okay, of the people in which they are wanting them to become their clients. They gave you an idea about the age, and they gave you an idea about their time of business, from when to when, and they gave you another idea about the time specification, availability, details, and the contact information or contact details. So before start giving you the meanings of the words and the contextual meaning of the words, let's have a small video, okay, in which you will try to introduce it for your students after reading this, okay, to give them an idea what is the advertising writing and what is a persuasive text, okay, should be, what's the layout of it. Again, we are trying to give an idea about a persuasive text in the part A, in reading section, okay, this is not in writing. So يعني try to be very summative of it, okay, but at the same time try to give a very good information or idea about it. Let's see it with each other. Persuasive texts and advertising. The purpose of the advertising is to sell a product. They were selling the chocolate by aiming at particular customer, the target or the end user, okay, their audience. They were the children who wants them to have the party or to buy their product. Using carefully chosen language, persuasion, okay, and they used a powerful words, fantastic, okay, experienced, fantastic, delight, never forget, wealth. So treat, just fly. they try to use a powerful words, a positive words, words that can describe the product in a positive way, in a positive way, okay, in a positive way. Okay, they try to make people believe that their product will make them happier. And they use careful chosen language to appeal to their audience, to let them buy the product. And for sure they will become better. It has so much fun. They will become smarter if they choose, of course, the product. How do they attract your attention? By using this. They are funny writers. They are trying to use exclamation words inside their writing. They are trying to give too many opinions. 1, 2, 3 opinions. Opinions. If I will ask somebody, for example, to give me an idea or to give me their opinion about the chocolate party company, they will say, we like it. Others will say, no, we don't like it. This is a matter of opinion. It will take two sides, like or unlike, like or dislike. 1, 2, 3. But here we have information. We don't have two people argue on them. This is a policy. We are working from 5 to 10. Weekdays, take these details. Weekends, take another details. We are targeting 8 to 14. You understand me? So here we don't have people to argue, to say it is good or it is bad. But here, yes, it's a matter of an opinion. A matter of opinion. They will try to use literary devices. They will try to use a poetic devices, alliteration in words, rhyme, to play on words, to create memorable slogans. Okay? Unforgettable. A day you will never forget. Time will just fly. Look at the metaphor. Okay? And try to use or to get used of the alliteration. Crispy coconut. Ka, ka, ka. Okay? What else? An advertisement use facts and persuasion, exaggeration, and rhetorical questions. They are asking questions and expecting the answers. Okay? They are not giving you an essay questions. They are giving you a question, accept yes and no. Okay? Questions, the answers of them, yes or no. Rhetorical questions, I will ask you a question and I am expecting the answers. Did you like the party? I'm expecting the answer of yay, we like it. Do you like English? No, we don't like it. This is a rhetorical question. Do you understand me? Is it fun? No, it is not fun. Something like this, okay? And let's take a look at some examples. Look, I have the slogan, I have the image, I have some facts or opinions, sorry, and at the end of the poster or the leaflet I will have the information, the contact numbers or details, and something like this. To play on word, the slogan, persuasive and factual text, and the image. A slogan, catchy alliteration, bah bah bah. The slogan is positive, I like it, I'm loving it, and the imagery, which is the picture, exaggeration, extreme as you, okay? The sole purpose, the only purpose is to buy the product, is to get that service. I like this channel, Bautone. It has very interesting materials to see. Now we analyzed the text. We will try to get over, to pass through the meanings. Calling all young chocolate lovers. Are you looking for a special theme for a party? Then come to us. Look at the hook. Look at the introduction. This is an invitation, a very direct invitation. Calling all young chocolate lovers. Are you here? Are you looking for special theme for a party? Are you listening to me? Are you there? Then come to us. Okay? He started with a question, a rhetorical question, of course, then answer it or finish it with an exclamation. Come to us. Okay? Calling. Attention. I am appealing. I'm demanding. I'm inviting. I'm requesting you to come. Yo, lovers, admirers, fans, fans of chocolate. Are you looking for, are you searching or hunting a special theme, a special idea, a special motive, a special topic for a party, for a celebration or social gathering? Then come to us. Our chocolate parties combine, mixes, incorporate, associate the very best quality, not only the best, the very best quality. Look at the exaggeration of Belgian. Belgian is an adjective of the noun Belgium. Belgian, it comes from the country or state of Belgium. Okay, it has a Belgium origin. Chocolate with fun baked, arranged with fun, positively congested, happily filled. Okay, fun activities. Like what? We will see like what. Now, the people, our experienced chocolatiers. Our experienced chocolatiers. Our people who make the chocolate. The chocolate makers contribute, participate, experience their magic, their art, their craft in making chocolate skills, in talents, expertise, and make sure that everyone has a great time. Spend two unforgettable. What's the meaning of unforgettable? Something you can't forget. Okay, give me another meaning. Memorable, remarkable. This is the beautiful of the beauty of the language. It is to use a diversity of meanings and try to explain words with another words. Words with other words. This is a skill, by the way. And you have to let and enhance and evoke your students. Again, I'm repeating it. You have to let your students understand this and train on it. To change the meaning of the words. To rewrite the text, to reproduce the text again using their own language and their own style with the meanings of the word. We will speak about this later in the writing section. Okay, creating scrumptious chocolate masterpieces, delicious, appetizing chocolate masterpiece. Usually a writer can produce a masterpiece, okay? A work which a master can do. Respected word of art, a craftful work, a jewel, a treasure work, such as the cute chocolate animals with crispy coconut. Crispy? Okay, mister, we know what the meaning of a crispy. Okay, describe it. Give me what the meaning of crispy. Simply. Crispy, I will go to the restaurant and I will ask crispy. What the meaning of crispy, mister? Crispy, it means brittles, flimsy, breakable. When you eat it or when you try to touch it, it will cracked, breakable, okay? Made of pieces. Mouth-watering. Mouth-watering. Something delicious. Something appetizing. Something delectable. Something will make you feel excuse me to say this, yummy, okay? If we try to use the informal language, although it is not a good idea, but we will try our best. All sorts of delicious toppings are available. All kinds, all types of delicious toppings are available. All kind of delicious sauces, additions, covering. It's not only a matter of chocolate. No, we will give you chocolate with additions, with additives, with sauces, with coverings, okay? So you will have shapes and coverings, additions, mixes, okay, are available. Not only the chocolate, but also we will give you additions, sauces, like caramel sprinkles, like honeycomb crumbs, the very small teeny tiny bits, the grains, and our favorite very strawberry curls, okay, the coils or the ringlets. Now students will ask you, what is the meaning of this word, mister? Miss, I can't understand what the meaning of that word. Simply try to copy, paste, and go to Google and give us a photo or a picture. This is a chocolatier, a person who is making chocolate. What else? Masterpiece. Okay, if we can find one. Look, amazing shapes. Something unusual, something really required a craft or an art in doing it. Masterpiece. You have to let them understand, and you have to try your best in providing examples, pictures, videos, something like this. You have to let them engaged, so that when the session finished, if it will finish, they will have at least 90% fully understand and cover everything. So the homework will be easier, the assessment will be easier, the revising will be easier, and the English will be easier. This is the idea. To let the students engaged. Cute chocolate animals. Look at this. Okay. Crispy coconut cups. Crispy. You see? Breakable and tiny pieces, parcels gathered with each other. Crispy. You see? Crispy. Then melt in the middle chocolate stars. Juicy. It will melt in the middle, you see? By doing this, they will understand 90 to 100% what the meaning of melt in the middle. Okay. Caramel sprinkles. Caramel sprinkles. Those parcels or atoms sparkles, and they are vanilla or caramel. Chocolate coated honeycomb crumbs. Let's see, what are they? Sorry. Chocolate honeycombs. And we have the very berry strawberry crawls. Okay. You see? Yes. Now, paragraph number 3, occasion, perfect for any special occasion, for any special event or social gathering happening. Our fantastically fun parties, our strikingly, amazingly, abnormally, in a positive way of course, fun parties will help you to create a chocolate delights that will impress everyone. Happiness, enjoyment will impress, will inspire, excite, touch, influence everyone. The time will just fly. The time will pass very fast, very rapidly, because of the fun activities. But the fun doesn't stop there, because at the end you and your friends will take away. What's the meaning of take away? Mr. Take away, it means to go to the restaurant and take away. To buy take away. I heard it once. To buy take away. Take away is to have and possess to go. To go. Crammed. You have bags crammed, packed, loaded, crowded with your own delicious handmade treats, gifts, sweets. You will also take with you a wealth of knowledge, cache of experience, a very big sum of information, a revenue of understanding, experience about the secret art, secret craft, profession, skill that chocolatiers making this a day you will never forget, a wonderful, a special, a remarkable, a memorable day. Last one, the informative paragraph. Parties last for 2 hours, continuous for 2 hours. They are suitable, they are advisable, appropriate for children between 8 to 14 years old, and they are available 7 days a week. They are applicable, ready to be used, accessible 24/7. We run throughout the day. We work, we serve, we operate throughout the day, starting at 10 a.m. with the last party finished at 9 p.m. on weekdays from Monday till Friday, and weekends Sunday and Saturday, and during holidays, days which are of like holy or sacred or social occasions, examples Christmas or New Year's Eve, Mother's Day, Labor's Day, etc. Labor Day. And for more details, visit our website to have more information, to have more specifics, to have more analysis. Go to our website. That was text B. We talk about the way of invitation, advertising, writing, persuasive text. This is an invitation, and this is a hook. This is a hook of how to invite or to advertise or to persuade people to come. Best of all, okay, we have something now around the punctuation. Okay, punctuation. We have the use of 2 commas and the use of 2 dashes. What's the difference between both of them? Okay, the 2 commas placement are to add a clause which we can drop because this clause is unnecessary. It is extra. Grammatically, it is unnecessary. The meaning will not change if we drop it. This is why we are putting it between 2 commas. Okay? The meaning will remain the same, but we are just giving it to give more information, to get extra attention. Usually we are doing this in our persuasive writing. 2 commas, and we will put a clause between them. Remember, we need 2 commas, not 1, 2. The same here. Instead of using 2 commas, we can use 2 dashes. Okay? a pair of M dashes, we will say M dash. Dashes are three sorts or three kinds: the hyphen, the M dash, and the N dash. We will speak about them. The M dash can be used in a place of commas here instead of commas to enhance the readability, to make the reading better, to enhance it. Note, dashes are always more emphatic than commas. If you wish to make extra attention, to emphasize more in a product or in a sentence, don't use two commas, use two dashes instead of them. Dash, space, the clause, space, then the dash. At the end, another one, okay? Another one between two commas. Here we have dashes 8 to 14. And before answering the questions, let's go to the grammar corner of text B. We will speak about the use of dashes and the use of commas. We will try to speak in a hurry, okay, because it is a wide range of speech. Punctuation, comma, hyphen, dashes. The comma is a punctuation mark used mainly to separate parts of a sentence, such as clauses and items in a list. The hyphen, which is a very small dash, is a punctuation mark used to join words and to separate syllable of a single word. The M dash, a long dash, may be used instead of a comma to set of a parenthetical elements in a sentence. The N dash, the small one, is slightly wider than the hyphen but narrower than the M dash. So, bigger than the hyphen and smaller than the M dash, and it is a typical computer type, okay? Examples. You are writing 2010-2011. 2010-2011. The commas usage, usually to list. In using the commas, we are using it in listing commas, okay? Usually a list of 3, okay? For your entry, you may choose vegetarian, pasta, beef, chicken, or salmon. We will try to put comma in a list. At the end of the list, the last item, you will put or and. Jane will bring the food, Jules will bring the drinks, John will bring the music, and Jackie will bring the cups. We put a list. Multiple, another usage, multiple adjectives that modify or describe the same noun. Example. The wine offered a fragrant, captivating bouquet. It was a long, noisy, no seating flight. Another usage, setting of non-restrictive or non-essential information. It is exactly like what we have faced in our text, okay? In our text. Example, I will give the document to my brother, Tom. It is not very important to put it, but I'm trying to indicate that Tom is my sole and only brother, okay? But here, I will give the document to my brother Tom. It means I have another brother but Tom, okay? Another example, Nathaniel Hawthorne's novel The Scarlet Letter has been made into several movies. Okay? Here, The Scarlet Letter, the author, Nathaniel Hawthorne, writes more than one. But if we put it, for example, between two dashes or between two, commas, Nathaniel Hawthorne first novel, Fanshawe, was published anonymously in 1828. I put it between two because Hawthorne had only one first novel. I'm trying to give some importance on non-essential clause. Now, non-essential explanation, for example, Mary Smith, who is she? A staff writer at the Times, recently wrote a book. We can say a staff writer, or we will say who is a staff writer. Okay? This is something called a positive. The building's window placement, referred to by architects as fenestration, is among its most. I need to introduce and give a definition of this thing. So I will put them between two commas to give non-essential explanation. If I drop it, the meaning will stay concrete. It will never fall. It will never fall out. Now, the use of which, John's cars, which are leased, are never kept clean. I put which whenever I have which or who, any relative pronoun, I have to put two commas between the clause. Okay? Compound sentences. This is something very familiar. The rule said or says use a comma before a coordinating conjunction that joins two independent clauses. Example, she purchased the car, but she declined the extended warranty. The coordinating conjunctions, they are fanboys, for and, nor, but, yet, so and or. Okay? The Prime Minister's plan seemed quickly and sloppily put together, and the opposition party immediately attacked it. Before the coordinating conjunction. Before the coordinating conjunction. Before and or, before but, nor, before so and for and yet. The rule. Do not use a comma before a coordinating conjunction if the sentence contains only one independent clause. One independent clause. She purchased the car but not the extended warranty. Are you traveling in first class or in business class? Do not use the comma before the coordinating conjunction if the sentence contains only one independent. What is the compound sentence? A compound sentence, in the first place, a compound sentence is two simple sentences joined with a conjunction. So you have two independent clauses joined by a coordinating. If you have one independent, there's here or hence, it is not important to put a comma. The compound is two independent clauses joined by a conjunction. Two simple sentences joined by a conjunction. She purchased a car. She declined the extended warranty. We have to put a conjunction with a comma. But here, we don't have but one independent. She purchased the car, but not the extended warranty. Okay? Are you traveling in first class or in business class? I have only one independent clause. No need to put a comma before the conjunction. Complex sentence, usually it is a combination between or of independent clause with the dependent clause. Okay? If the independent clause comes after the dependent, if the dependent clause comes before the independent, separate them using a comma. If you can't see without your glasses, comma, you shouldn't be driving. To understand it, you have always to get familiar with the dependent clause. The dependent clause always comes with the subordinate conjunction, with if. So try to look for the clause having the if or having the subordinate clause, the subordinate conjunction. This is the dependent clause because it has the if, and it should be in the beginning. We will put the comma, then the independent will come after. You shouldn't be driving. Because of the thunderstorm, this is the subordinate conjunction. Because of the thunderstorm, what happened? I will put a comma. Our flight has been delayed. Though I don't doubt his sincerity, comma, I cannot agree with his position on that issue. I put the dependent in the beginning, comma, then I put the independent. The rule said if the independent clause comes before the dependent, do not use the comma. Omit it, delete it. You shouldn't be driving if you can see. We will say, if we have the dependent clause or if we have the if clause, if we have the subordinate clause comes after, in the middle of the sentence, do not put a comma. When we have the if clause after, do not put the comma. Our flight has been delayed because of the thunderstorm. No need to put a comma. Another rule. If the dependent clause occurs in the middle of the sentence, use the comma if it is non-essential. You are free to put it. If you feel that it is essential, put it. If you can't feel that it is essential or it is non-essential, do not put it. The guests, who were all close friends to the president, comma, refused to speak about the events. Okay? And look, even Microsoft Office Word puts a green light under it. It doesn't accept it. While here, the guests who arrived more than an hour late were greeted coolly by the host. We didn't put a comma or two commas, and the MS Word accepted. Compound complex sentences. Compound complex sentences, the rule said, when a sentence begins with a dependent clause that applies to two independent clauses that follows, insert a comma after the dependent clause, but do not insert a comma between the independent clauses. Example, okay? If we want this business to work, you need to find suppliers and I need to find buyers. Do not put it, do not insert the comma between the independent clause. inserted with a dependent. Rule: when a dependent clause occurs between two independent clauses and applies only to the second, the dependent clause should be set off with commas. Example: the Prime Minister's plan seemed quickly and sloppily put together, comma, and when they saw it, comma, the opposition party immediately attacked it. Try always to track the conjunction which follows the dependent clause. What is the M dash? It depends on the context. The M dash can take the place of commas or parentheses or colons. Okay? In each case, to slightly different effect. Examples: the M dash in place of commas, and yet when car was finally delivered, nearly 3 months after it was ordered, she decided she no longer wanted it. I'm trying to emphasize the clause, okay, and I'm using it in place of commas. The M dash is in place of parentheses upon discovering the errors between two parentheses, all 124 of them. Okay, I will use it the same, but I will put the dashes instead of the parentheses. Of course, I will omit the comma. Another one. Here I have the parentheses, and here I have the dashes. Okay? Of course, because it is at the end, we don't need to put another dash here, okay? Another M dash. But if it was in the beginning, in the middle of the sentence, you have to put the two M dashes. Now the M dash, in place of a colon. Example: after months of deliberation, the jurors reached an unanimous verdict guilty. The white sand, the warm water, the sparkling sun. This is what brought them to Fiji. Okay? A place of a colon. A place of a colon. The N dash or the hyphen usage. We have something called compound adjectives. Compound adjectives, and we will use them sometimes for hyphens and sometimes for N dashes. Okay? Try to get used of it like the following. The hyphen, usually the hyphen will be with something called compound words, and the N dash with the compound adjectives. A compound word is one word consisted of 2 or 3 parts. Okay, for example, look at this. She is an awarded winning. This is one word, and this hyphen is a letter. While look here, okay, the N dash. She is a national book awarded winning novelist. Those are 2 words. Okay? Book awarded winning. Hyphen. It was just one many changes in the post-Obama era. This is one word. One word. I will put a hyphen. Here, post-New Deal era, This is past word, new is another word. And we have the N dash here, hyphen. They were a bunch of colleague educated. One word, okay? One adjective, compound adjective. And here, the N dash, school educated. School is a word, educated is another word. And we have something called open and hyphenated or closed, okay? In the compound terms, examples, printing press, this is an open or space compounds. There is no need here to put any hyphen or any N dash. Car wash, chief of staff. Now hyphenated you have to put, okay? Eye opener, check in, free for all. As here we have the example of melt in the middle, okay? Closed or solid compounds are written as single word. Lifestyle, bookstore, aeroplane, and hood unit. And we spoke about the compound adjectives. It is like do nothing, or numbers, for example, 25-year-old man. This is a compound adjective for the noun man. If you wish to delete or to omit the hyphen, you have to say 20 word, or 5 word, years, not year, years word, and old word. But if you wish to make it as a compound adjective, 25-year-old, and the noun is man. This compound adjective is describing or modifying the noun man. Monkey back, okay, this is a hyphenated. State of the art, hyphenated. One bedroom, hyphenated. 2, 3, etc. 4 bedroom, look, hyphenated, hyphenated. So, as we finished the text B with the genre explanation and the words and the grammar corner, we will try to move on to the paper 1 non-fiction, the question papers, okay? Because we explained and analyzed the text, so you already know the answers. But if you wish, for example, your students to answer this paper, it is an individual work or mutual or group work, no problem. You will ask them to answer the questions and you will put it on the board, and you will try to hide the answer, and try let them to answer it inside your class, because usually they have the mark scheme and they will make no efforts in answering them. So try them, or let them try answer it inside the session. Read text A in the insert and answer the questions from 1 to 8. Name one thing that affects the taste of cocoa beans. We have the age of the tree, where the beans comes from, where the trees is grown. This ensure the flavor of the chocolate is consistent over the time. What the meaning of this? It means the taste will never change, it would never be different, it would always be the same. 3. Give the right or correct order, number them according to the process, okay? They started with weighing, it is number 1. Roasting, this is number 2. Winnowing, number 3. Grinding number 4. And as an activity I said, remember to let them try to make it as using the sequencers. Number 4, give one word from the text to describe how chocolate liqueurs tastes. They are very bitter. 5, name 2 ingredients that are added to chocolate liqueur to make it taste better. We will mix them with vanilla, sugar, or milk. 6, what is conching, or why is conching important? It is simply to improve the texture, or simply to evaluate, or to impress, or to escalate, to develop the texture, to develop the structure. 7, tick 2 boxes to show phrases which is using the passive form. We said that try to search for the object. If the object is in the beginning and the subject is in the end, then, and of course you have using the passive voice in the verb, then you have the passive. This is passive. Beans have been collected. This is active. Manufacturer knows exactly. These trees grow in several different countries. This is the subject, and this is the verb. This is active. They are transported. This is the passive. Transported to chocolate factories. And the passive, sorry, the active here, this is better, or this is bitter and not very smooth. Why is the passive form on the verb often used in text A? Because simply we don't care about the subject or the doer. We are asking or giving an impression for the object. The object is more important than the subject. The topic chocolate is what matters, not who is making the chocolate. Give 3 connectives used to show the time in the text. We said once, we said then, we said next, we said finally, we said after. Explain why connectives are used. It is to make a sequence, to show the order of things, to put the events in the logic sequence. Questions about text B. What are the people who teach chocolate making the parties called? They are chocolatiers. It is, by the way, a Latin or French word origin, okay? Chocolatiers. We don't have in English such things, okay? Chocolatiers. And to be honest, and to be exact, it is French and came from Belgium, okay? Now name one of the chocolate sweets you can make during the party. You can make during the party. Chocolate animals, chocolate or coconut cup, and chocolate stars. Name one of the products you can use to decorate your chocolate. We said that we have the vanilla sparkles or caramel sprinkles, honeycomb crumbs, and strawberry curls. Look at the phrase time will just fly. What technique is time will just fly using? It is an example of metaphor. It is to compare two things without using any as or like. Suggest one reason why time will fly, because simply we have fun activities and there are so many enjoyable activities in which children will be occupied and busy on doing them. Remember that we have techniques, okay? Poetic devices. A metaphor is a common poetic device where an object or the subject or the idea is described as being the same as another but otherwise unrelated object. Here, for example, time will just fly. I'm comparing time to something will fly. Time is something and fly is another thing. Flying is another thing. I'm comparing time with the fly, although this is a thing and the flying is another thing. They don't have something in common, yet I'm trying to compare between them. This is a metaphor. Look at the phrase, you and your friends will take away party bags crammed with your own. Okay, what does the word crammed suggest? It is loaded, fully loaded, piled, and they are very full. Give me two examples of alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration can be defined as a series of words occurring close to each other in the phrase or in a line of poetry or line of writing, for example, that have the same first consonant or consonant sound. Ba, ba, da, da, ma, ma, fa, fa, sa, sa, ta, ta, ka, ka. I'm interested with the sound, not with the letter. Fantastically fun, fa, fa. Crispy coconut cups, ka, ka, ka. Explain 3 ways that the last paragraph is different from the rest of the text. Simply, the first 3 paragraphs are descriptive or using descriptive language. The first 3 paragraphs include many opinions. The first 3 paragraphs use persuasive style. The last paragraph, however, uses facts. The last paragraph, however, gives information. The last paragraph, however, is very specific and contain precise information. Question 15, 16 about both text A and B. Finally, we have a chocolate. This is a phrase or a sentence. Then come to us, this is another phrase or another sentence. Give me 2 ways these short sentences are similar to each other. Look at them. Try to compare them by the layout, the shape, and by the core or the heart. Okay, comparison by the shape or the layout, they are both short. They are both short sentences and they have exclamation. Okay, now with the syntaxical or the core thing, the grammar both uses the pronoun we or us, the plural person or first person plural pronoun. The use of the first person plural pronoun we, us, and the use of exclamation mark. Okay, and they are both short sentences using the exclamation. What is the difference, or what is the purpose of text A? Text A is to inform to explain, to give sequence, to give a process, and text B is to persuade, to invite. So here to inform, and here is to persuade. By doing this, we finished our reading section, section A. I will do section B, God will, on another video. As a homework, you have to assign for your students, you have to take all the words in which we try to extract from the text A and text B, from both texts, and you have to put them in a table and try to name it as a new word list. Then you will ask them to write the definition and the synonyms of the words in English language. As a teacher, you have to think about the most important words in which your students doesn't know or don't know. Here I have around 60 words, 60, okay? It is a good idea to take 25 or 30, okay? After that, you have to make another table, and it is in a new word sentence usage. You have to ask them to take the same words and to write a useful sentence about it. Not from the text, but from their own or from the dictionary. By doing this, you understand, or you are very sure that they write, or they are writing the definition or the synonym of the word, number one, and number two, they are using the word inside a sentence. And number three, you have to let them rewrite or reproduce the passage by using the synonym or the meanings of the words, not the same vocabulary. It means you have to go here, ask them to write this passage again, write this text again, using the meanings of the words. This is why we are trying to insist on writing the meanings and to vary the using of synonyms. Why? To reproduce the text, to rewrite the text again using their own language and using their own words and the meanings of the words. Do not repeat the same words, just write the meanings of them using your own language and your own style, okay? By doing this, they will enhance and progress their reading skills and their writing skills as well. By doing this, I think we finished the specimen 2018, paper 1, part A, which is the reading section. I hope that you enjoyed our session. I am so sorry because it was long, a type of long, or I tried to include as much information as I can. And again, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice time.